Okay everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Regina Widyadhari and my friend is Alisa Puteri. We are from group 3 and here we will present about the novel. The title is Pride and the Prejudice and the first explained with Alisa. Alisa, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Regina. The first is I will tell you about Introduction, Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice is a film released in 2005 and based on a novel with the same title by Jane Austen. This film stars Keira Knightley, Rosamund Pike, Matthew McFadden, and others. The film Pride and Prejudice has a background around the end of the 18th century, where social class was still an important thing in that era. The focus of the story in the film is about the Bennet family, in which there are many daughters who are forced by their mothers to marry people from a high social class. Next, about a character analysis can explain by Regina.
Okay, thank you Alisa. Here's the character in Pride and Prejudice. First is Elizabeth Bennet. She's a protagonist in this novel, and she's a second daughter of Mr. Bennet, and she is well-read and quick-witted with a talk and sociality professed to share for her good aunt. And the second is Phil William Darcy. In the novel, he was temperament in class conscience and learning to admire and love Elizabeth for her strong character. The third is Jane Bennet, the older of the Bennet sister, and Jane seemed a lot too good to be true, such as beautiful, sweet, temperate, and modest. The number four is Mr. Bennet. Mr. Bennet is a patriarchy of the Bennet family. He is a gentleman of the method incarnate of the five unmarried daughter. Number five is Mrs. Bennet. Mrs. Bennet is wife of Mr. Bennet, a floof, noisy woman who only goes in life in the sea her daughter married. And the number six is Claude Lucas. He is a close friend of Elizabeth and Mr. Colin for security, but not love, but nevertheless find happiness in her situation. The number seven is Lady Lucas. Lady Lucas is the Claude's mother. The second is Mr. Collins. Mr. Collins is Mr. Bennet's coins and there to be Bennet's essence. His protagonist is Lady Catherine. And the next is Carlis Bingley. Bingley is Darcy's best friend and the brother of Colin Bingley and Mr. Hunt. Unlike Darcy and this high book, while he is humble and modest, places no great weight on social standing. And the next lady, Catherine the Book. A rich, bossy, Norseman, while Mr. Collins, Patrons, and Darcy auntie. Then the last is Lady Bennet. The Lady Bennet is younger than a sister, and she is gossipy, immature, self-employed, and unlike Elizabeth. Okay, the next part is setting. In this novel, the setting is England during of the area the Napoleonic Wars in the very late in 70 early 18 years. In this summary, Elizabeth Bennet or family called Liz in the second of the five children. She was older sister named Janet Bennet and three younger sisters namely Mary, Mary Bennet, Kitty Bennet, and Lydia Bennet. The daily life of the Bennet life is a life simply and personally. So one day, news comes the Carly's Bingley, a wild Bactrian who was fondly called Bingley, would be staying in the area there they live, and Mrs. Bennet does not want to lose the opportunity to be a suitable husband to one of his daughters, and is determined to introduce his eldest children, Jane, who is known as a grateful and beautiful woman, to Bingley. Mr. Bennet starts with a dance part, attention by Bingley with her haughty sister. Unlike Jen, who seems to be enjoying the party with Bingley, Lizzie, who is actually a dance consignee, experienced a place incident. He was rejected when he took the invited to ask Darcy to dance. So, reciting this rejection, Lizzie was very upset. Her resentment grew even more because Darcy likely said she was not beautiful when Lizzie tasted her. Since then, Lizzie branded Darcy as an arrogant man who could get along. And then, the Cold War between Lizzie and Darcy got closer when Darcy deliberately brings Bingley to London. Lizzie was, as a younger sister, did not accept that her sister Jane was left alone. Meanwhile, Darcy's actions are based on his dislike of the Bennet family, who have a low social status. Not to mention, Mrs. Bennet really wants a son-in-law like Mrs. Bingley, who could in the stepping stone for his family to live in proportioned life. In Pride and the Prejudice of the Mrs. Darcy, White he realized it or not because of his social status, and competed by poor social skill and communication, whilst Lizzie is too easy to be prejudiced and likes to judge from the first great impression. Sorry. And Lizzie's character is also quite arrogant because she considered herself wise at judging someone's character. As time goes by, Lizzie and Darcy's relationship continues. Who would have thought the person you had the most will actually be someone who will see you for the rest for your life? And Darcy realized his feelings more quickly and lowered his ego to live with Lizzie. Meanwhile, Lizzie, whose common sense had already been clouded by prejudice, realized her mistake and judging Darcy too late. And the next part is times.
Okay. The next is Them. Them in Pride and Prejudice. Here's a list of the main Pride and Prejudice themes. The first is overcoming obstacles of true love and the reputation of women who fought for social class difference and class status, the strength of the family network, and integrity and conduct. Next is symbol. Symbols are objects, character, figures, and color used to represent abstract ideas or concepts. And then Pride and Prejudice is remarkably free of explicit symbolism, which perhaps has something to do with the novel reliance on dialogue over description. Nevertheless, Pemberley Darcy Estate sits as the center of the novel, literally and figuratively as a geographic symbol of the men who own it. Elizabeth visits it and a time when her feelings toward Darcy are beginning to warm. She is excited by its beauty and charm, and by the pictures countryside just as she will be charmed increasingly by the gifts of its owner. Austen makes the connection explicit when she describes the stream that flows beside the mansion. In front, she riders a stream of some natural importance was swelled into greater, but without any artificial appreciation. Darcy possessed a natural importance that is swelled by his arrogant, but which exits with a genuine honesty and lack of artificial apprehension, like the stream. He is neither formal nor falsely adorned, Pemberley even over as a symbol within a symbol for their breeding romance. When Elizabeth encounters Darcy on the estate, she is crossing a small grate, suggesting the broad gulf of misunderstanding and class prejudice that lies between them, and the bride that their love will build across it. Then the last is conclusion. At the conclusion is we can say love is a simple thing that is something complicated. At least that's the gift of the story conveyed by this film. However, I must have myself caught many other lessons. I can know the culture. We can know the culture background in the 18th century, and we can now learn about the position of women in social relations at that time. It can be seen that Lizzie character is a character that is considered an anomaly for women in her era, a rebel, a lover of freedom, and certainly does not want to give his life to someone he doesn't love. I think at that we think at that time women did not fully play a big role in society. So having a partner, getting married and giving birth to children is a cycle that must be carried out. And this favorite character is Lizzie. Though not all of them, Lizzie is a personality who is smart, careful, brave, firm, but also easily prejudiced. Is a great attraction. Moreover, just as posed with the character Darcy, who is cold, talkative, but actually kind, generous, and of course handsome. Not forgetting also the character of Lizzie's parents. Uh, Mr. Lizzie's parents, Bennett, as a mother, it is normal to be someone who is worried about the future. So I think that's all from us. Thank you for your attention. Sorry for a mistake. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.